Today, I'm going to share with you a wonderful and meaningful verse from the Dhammapada. So, what is the Dhammapada? The Dhammapada is a set of verses preached by our great teacher, the Supreme Buddha. Now, the Supreme Buddha used many methods to teach Dhamma to people. One of those methods was through verses. He delivered these verses to convey profound teachings. Along with verses, there are also other forms of teachings that the Buddha used, such as discourses, which we refer to as Suttas or Sutras. These are just some of the ways the Supreme Buddha elaborated on Dhamma and guided people toward enlightenment. The Dhammapada is a collection of 423 verses. And today, I'm going to share with you one of those verses. This particular verse addresses the mind. It says, "It is very difficult to control your mind. The mind moves swiftly and lands wherever it feels the desire. However, it is very good to discipline the mind." What does this verse mean? The verse speaks about how challenging it is to control the mind, which is constantly moving and flowing. Like a restless stream, the mind is always pulled by desires, attachments, and distractions. It moves swiftly, constantly chasing after things that seem to bring satisfaction. But the Buddha also explains that it is important to discipline the mind. Why? Because when we take control over our thoughts and emotions, we can find true happiness in our lives. In today's society, many people believe they need the freedom to express whatever comes to their mind. Some people argue that they should be free to say anything that crosses their minds, without holding back. However, if we were to express everything that comes to our mind, especially the negative or harmful thoughts, we would end up as terrible, destructive people. Think about it. If you express your anger every time it arises, how would others perceive you? Most people would avoid you, and you would alienate yourself. If you constantly express every bad thought that comes to your mind, you will end up causing harm to yourself and others. That's why the Buddha emphasized the importance of controlling our thoughts. We need to take control over our minds if we are to live peacefully and harmoniously with others. The ability to manage our emotions and thoughts is key to leading a life of happiness. When we practice mental discipline, we are able to avoid reacting impulsively to negative emotions, such as anger or jealousy. Now, controlling the mind is not an easy task. For example, think about the first thing that happens when you wake up in the morning. Is it easy to get up from the bed? Most likely, your mind tells you to stay in bed for a few more minutes. If you listen to that thought, what happens? You stay in bed longer, maybe for an hour. If you let your mind control your actions, you will lose your time and willpower. This is just a small example, but it highlights how the mind can influence your behavior. In life, you should not listen to every emotion that arises in your mind. If you constantly act on every impulse or feeling, it will be difficult to make progress in life. Mental discipline is essential. Think about every successful person in the world. They all had the ability to take control over their emotions and avoid letting negative thoughts control their lives. They had discipline, which allowed them to stay focused and make better decisions. It's because of this discipline that they became great in their respective fields. So, how can we develop mental discipline? It's simpler than it may seem. The key to mental discipline is consistent practice. Practice is the secret to cultivating control over the mind. So, what kind of practices can we incorporate into our lives to develop mental discipline? The first and foremost practice to develop mental discipline is meditation. If you can meditate for at least 4 or 5 minutes a day, it will greatly help you take control of your thoughts. Meditation helps you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, allowing you to observe them without being carried away by them. One effective form of meditation is loving kindness meditation. When you practice loving kindness, you are controlling negative thoughts like anger and cultivating positive thoughts of compassion and goodwill. Another helpful meditation technique is breathing meditation. By focusing on your breath, you can calm your mind and prevent distracting thoughts from taking over. Breathing meditation helps you become more mindful of your mental state, allowing you to regain control over your thoughts. The best way to develop mental discipline is through meditation. So aim to practice meditation at least 5 minutes a day. Of course, if you can meditate longer, that's even better. But starting with just 5 minutes a day will gradually help you develop mental discipline. Most successful meditators have strong mental discipline, and meditation is the key to cultivating it. To build mental discipline, it is essential to develop the understanding that not every thought that arises in your mind should be expressed. If you feel anger coming up, for example, make a decision not to act on it. Remember, expressing anger is not a sign of strength. It's actually a weakness. Only weak people act out of anger without control. It's important to understand that anger doesn't harm the person you are angry at as much as it harms you. If you love yourself, you need to control your anger, because it hurts you more than anyone else. So, practicing mental discipline means making a commitment not to express anger or other negative emotions impulsively. Instead, practice observing them without letting them control you. In conclusion, disciplining your mind is not easy. But with consistent practice, especially through meditation, you can develop the mental discipline needed to lead a peaceful and successful life. It will take time, but with effort, you will be able to control your thoughts and emotions. By cultivating this discipline, you can find true happiness and live a more harmonious life. I wish that all of you have the opportunity to discipline your minds and find the ultimate happiness in your lives. May you be able to control your thoughts and emotions and experience the peace and clarity that comes with mental discipline. May all beings be happy, and may all beings be free from suffering. Take care and see you in the next video.